Melody Fitness Center, something like $1,000 loss. I know for a few years I've been trying to get membership there, and the price is pretty high. Well, I'm on 65 years old, and I understand it changed the price structure somewhat, but I think there may be good, better efforts to possibly reach out to some of the seniors or maybe some of the students with maybe some different pricing to get more people into the center. You know, as it stands right now, we're pretty much sitting there as far as I can see. I don't see a lot of people coming out of there. I think you put a nice dish in there, not trying to profit. If somebody really looks into doing something with that center that people would want to go there for. You know, it's just a suggestion. Okay.
Back in 2014, it was already clear that the Melanie Fitness Center was facing serious challenges. Even then, the signs of financial trouble were hard to miss. Now, let us dive into some of the key controversies and problems that have plagued the Melanie Fitness Center over the years. By doing this, we can start to get a better picture of why the center continues to struggle with generating revenue and why it has become more of a financial liability for the village of Dolton than an asset. The first major controversy we are going to explore involves this man right here. His name is Dwayne Muhammad. He served as a trustee and also chaired the Melanie Fitness Committee while he was on the board. During his leadership, a scandal surfaced involving an event that took place at the Melanie Fitness Center. Let us take a look at the footage, and then I will give you my thoughts.
The Melanie Fitness Center in Dolton has a large pool and exercise room, and last month, the taxpayer-owned facility was used for a racy adult pool party. Among the featured guests, a dancer named Lonnie Pop.
Wow.
Your reaction when you first saw this video?
I couldn't believe it. They was making it rain on her derriere with $1 bills. That type of activity belonged at a strip joint or at a private club, not in a village-owned and operated building.
The fitness center manager rented the space to promoters for $500. Stubbs and other village officials say they were never consulted.
The party should not have went.
What really adds an extra twist to the story is that Dwayne Muhammad had once thrown his name into the ring for mayor. He did not win, of course, but what makes things even more intriguing about him leading the Melody Fitness Center committee is the fact that he hired his own son to run the facility as its manager.
Trustee Dwayne Muhammad chairs the Fitness Center Committee, and his son is the general manager. Muhammad says there was nothing illegal or even improper.
It was a pool party, and with a pool party, people have on bathing suits. And that's how young people dance nowadays. So you cannot censor how people dance at a pool party.
The promoter says no alcohol was served at the party, and the cash bar ad was a mistake. He defended Pop's routine, adding that there was no nudity. At the board meeting tonight, a video of the pool party was shown, and trustees moved to ban all adult pool parties at the Melanie Center in the future.
Why would we want to put a black eye on this village for people to look at across this state? And everybody here probably agrees that it's wrong, and all we got to do is stop it.
And to add insult to injury, Muhammad actually wanted to go back and then chair the Melanie Fitness Committee again. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at a clip from another board meeting.
To make things even worse, Muhammad actually tried to return and once again take charge of the Melanie Fitness Committee. Yep, he really went there. Let's roll a clip from another heated board meeting. I was just asking, Trustee Pearson, what exactly is happening here? I'm kind of confused. I can clarify if you don't mind. The Melanie Fitness Center currently does not have its own committee. We would like to add it under the Human Services Committee. We are in the process of selling that facility, similar to how we recently sold the Dorchester building. We want to ensure a smooth transition, and a committee should be in place to oversee the sale and other matters related to the recreation center. So we are forming a separate committee for it. No, we are folding it into Human Services. So, basically, he is trying to loop the Melanie Fitness Center into the Human Services Committee, which just so happens to be the one he's already a part of. Kinda sneaky, right? Let's see where this goes. In my opinion, I strongly suggest we do not assign this to the Human Services Committee under Trustee Muhammad. Why? Because the last time he had control, he allowed a strip party to take place at the Melanie Fitness Center. And then he went on Channel 2 News and said, "I do not see anything wrong with that." Muhammad responded by saying there was nothing illegal or inappropriate. He claimed it was simply a pool party and that people wear bathing suits at pool parties and that this is just how the younger crowd dances these days. So basically, you cannot police how people dance at a pool party. Let's talk about judgment. You now have a trustee who openly said on TV that there was nothing wrong with that event, and yet now you want to give him authority over that same center again. Come on, board, think about that. Mayor, may I respond to that inaccurate statement? Go ahead. I will not go back and forth over misinformation. Thank you. Please let me finish. With all due respect, I am not going to debate the false narrative of a so-called strip party. It was a pool party, and again people wear bathing suits and dance how they dance. That is just reality. But let us not forget that across the street at Club 1 under your authority you approved a liquor license for an actual strip club on the second floor, where 4 people were shot and a 5th was shot just outside the venue. A real strip club. So Muhammad gets slammed for the pool party, then turns around and slams the mayor for the violent shooting incident at a club directly across from Village Hall. And since the mayor also served as the liquor commissioner back then, yet, you know the blame game is coming. Let's take a look at what really happened with that. Club shooting. Big questions are being raised after gunfire broke out at a Dolton nightclub. Who is at fault and should the club have even been operating in the first place? Police are still investigating and have not shared many details, but they did confirm that all shooting victims are currently in critical but stable condition that could change at any moment. This location used to be a family-friendly movie theater, but today, that business is gone and the building has been shut down by police order. Longtime resident Allison Key, now standing outside the club, known as Club 1, says the area feels unfamiliar and dangerous. It's scary, just scary. We're trying to raise families here. The crime tape stretched across the area well into the night. A shooting inside and outside the club drew heavy police presence. This happened literally steps away from the municipal building. 5 village trustees held a press conference matching the number of people injured in the shooting. Dwayne Muhammad explained that it all started on the second floor, where 2 men got into an argument. One reached into his girlfriend's purse, pulled out a gun, and began firing. How did a gun make it into a club with a strict no-weapons policy? I asked Chief Collins the same thing, Muhammad said. They claim security checks everyone, but clearly something slipped through. That's just speculation. Muhammad says 4 victims were shot inside and the shooter was taken down outside. However, it is still unclear who fired that final shot. Another question on the trustees' minds: did the club have the correct license to even serve alcohol in the first place? We're planning to meet with the mayor to determine whether he issued a license to Club 1, said one trustee. This situation highlights the never-ending clash between the mayor and the board. Under the Tiffany Henyard administration, and now with the Jason House administration, only time will tell what direction things will take. But I am cautiously optimistic about Jason House. Unlike previous leadership, many current trustees seem focused on what's best for the community. They are capable of working together and compromising. You're here to legislate. I governed the village, House reminded them. Once you understand the roles, we can operate more effectively. Jason House seems like a strong leader, one who uses logic and evidence instead of chaos, which is what we saw under Henyard. I told everyone no man is going to get mad because a woman is in charge. I'm going to show y'all how we do things, she once said. Let's head back into the meeting to see how this vote unfolds, specifically with Muhammad trying to regain control over the Melanie Fitness Center. There is a motion on the floor, and a second, time to vote. You had your shot, and you proved your judgment was flawed when it came to the events at the Melanie Fitness Center. So it's up to the board. Now who do you want leading this? Trustee Henry stepped in. My suggestion is to keep it separate, and consider appointing some of the newer trustees. We all have our own committees. That's just my take. I want unity here, and while I know Trustee Muhammad made mistakes, I do think he could serve on the CAMID just not as the chair. Perhaps one of the newer trustees can lead, if they are open to it. Just a suggestion. One thing that stood out, here Trustee Tiffany Henyard was actually advocating for Muhammad's return to the Melanie Fitness Committee. Why? Was it genuine? Was she truly giving him a second chance? Or were there deeper reasons for her support? She did mention Denton and House as alternatives, but her motive remains a mystery. Can you blame me for being a bit skeptical? Let's move. On dot, another big reason the Melanie Fitness Center struggled was because of COVID. The pandemic made people avoid public places, and many businesses never bounced back. So that hurt things for sure. Still, the question remains, why has the Melanie Fitness Center always been a problematic asset for Dolton? Why has it failed to generate reliable revenue for the village? And more importantly, who has actively gotten in the way of fixing the problem instead of solving it? Ding ding ding, you guessed it, Tiffany Henyard. She consistently blocked progress for the Melanie Fitness Center, yet she never once offered a practical solution. Here's one example. Let's go to a board meeting where Mayor Henyard outright stopped trustees from getting a property appraisal for the center. In real estate, an appraisal is a professional and unbiased estimate of a property's value. It is a necessary first step when evaluating what to do with a building. Appraisals are typically conducted by licensed professionals, and they play a critical role in real estate transactions, especially when it comes to securing a mortgage. It helps ensure that the property's sale price actually reflects its real value. Now, let's check out how Tiffany reacted when the board proposed getting a fresh appraisal for the Melanie Fitness Center. I still suggest we do not do another appraisal. You all can go back to the same appraisal company and just have them revise the figures, but that would just be a waste of money. So let's move forward. As you can see, Tiffany shut that idea down fast, but as time passed, her real reasons for rejecting that appraisal request started to surface and had everything to do with the fact that she already had her own vision for the building. She wanted to turn the fitness center into a police station. The problem? She completely bypassed the board, skipped all necessary inspections, and made that move without following any standard procedure. I know what you're thinking, Tiffany. Going rogue again? Yep, all wrong, no board approval, no building assessments, just her doing what she wanted. And now, the building just sits there. With a police station sign slapped on it but no actual police department inside, it is literally just a building pretending to be a police station. That's not just misleading, it's a serious liability. So why is there a police sign on the building in the first place? Because Tiffany went out and dropped $50,000 on a giant police sign without any board approval and had it installed on the front of the building. And after that, crickets. She hosted a few bingo nights there occasionally, but beyond that, the building has once again become a money pit, bleeding funds from the village budget with zero return. At one point, she claimed she was going to contact the YMCA to explore collaboration for the facility. But, surprise, surprise, that never materialized either. In my opinion, she was never serious about that partnership. I believe she only wanted something done if it had her name on it, so she could take full credit. Well, congratulations, Tiffany, you're getting credit, but not for anything good. Dolton barely made the news before she became mayor, and now it's known for all the wrong reasons. All right, let's rewind and revisit a 2014 board meeting. This will transition us into another key figure in the village's ongoing story, Tangenique Miller, Dolton's former finance director. She originally served in that role back in 2014 to 2015, but later resurfaced under the Tiffany Henyard administration. So, why bring her up? Because her behavior changed drastically between those two periods. In 2014, she was transparent and helpful answering financial questions, clearly and directly. But under Tiffany, she became closed-off, resistant, and even hostile. Let's start by looking at a clip from when Don Lee addressed the board and asked a financial question. There's a line here for motor fuel, but the amount is listed as zero. Why is that? Motor fuel is designated for a special use. It's listed as zero because the expenses must match the revenue. That money is restricted to streets and sanitation, and you'll see the offset elsewhere, so it cancels out. See? Clear, straightforward, no attitude, just an honest answer. But now let's fast forward to when she was serving under Tiffany Henyard. The next agenda item was approval of Ordinance 3, which allowed the village to borrow up to $3.9 million through general obligation tax. Anticipation warrants. In simple terms, they were asking for another loan to cover village expenses more than they borrowed the year before. Tiffany tried to frame it as a standard procedure. pointing out that past administrations had done the same when tax payments were delayed. But this year's request, it was $1 million more than the last one. As the board prepared to vote, Trustee Chance raised a valid question. Last year, we borrowed $2.9 million. It was paid back, so why do we need an extra $1 million this time around? And here's where things took a turn. Tangenique, the financial advisor, looked completely annoyed, like answering questions was a burden. She took her time grabbing the mic, gave off a dismissive attitude, and just looked bothered to even be there. She finally mumbled, "The ordinance outlines the expenses this bond will cover. That's how the total was calculated." Then Chance followed up, "So is the amount of taxes we're expecting equal to that $3.9 million. Cue the awkward silence. She turned her head, scratched her face, avoided eye contact. It was clear she didn't want to answer, and that kind of body language, that is classic "I'm hiding something" energy, rather than giving a direct answer. She brushed it off and essentially said, "We're taking out the $3.9 million. That's it." Trustee Jason tried to raise concerns about taking out more than necessary, asking if a smaller loan might reduce interest payments. But Tangenique shut it down. "We're taking the $3.9 million. That was it. No room for discussion." Now compare that to her attitude back in 2014, where she welcomed questions and offered full explanations. So, what changed? Easy. Tiffany Henyard. Tiffany picked her staff. That includes Tangenique, along with others like the village administrator and public works officials, and in some cases, such as Keith Freeman, she made hires without board approval or even a proper background check. Look, I get it, people need jobs, and when someone like Tiffany Henyard offers you a high-paying position, it's tempting. I'm sure the salary was attractive, but when you take a deal like that, you're going to face consequences. And that's exactly what happened with Tangenique Miller. She ended up being called in for a deposition as part of the ongoing FBI investigation into Tiffany Henyard's time as mayor of Dolton. For those who may not know, a deposition is a sworn, out-of-court testimony given during the discovery phase of a lawsuit. Attorneys ask questions, a court reporter records everything, and the witness is under oath the entire time. It's a vital tool for uncovering the truth ahead of a trial. I couldn't get the full deposition myself, but another YouTuber, in the queue, she has 2 full videos reviewing the deposition in detail, and you really should check it out. In the deposition, Tangenique was questioned about her time in Dolton, how long she worked there, how many hours she logged, and what her specific duties were. She was also asked why she stopped showing up to board meetings later on. Toward the end of her tenure, she just stopped appearing altogether. And now, even more questions have come up, like the mysterious $65,000 payment to Moscow, designs that was flagged in recent board discussions. Miller claimed the invoice had already been paid, which is confusing because the same charge keeps popping up on the warrant list. From my perspective, I am just trying to understand. If she said on record that it was paid, why does it keep coming back? I do not have that specific information at the moment, but if you email it to me, I will respond, was the reply. But this is the same issue every month whenever the board reaches the finance portion of the meeting. The finance team is either absent or unprepared to answer even the most basic questions. It is beyond frustrating. If you head over to All in the Q's YouTube channel and watch Tangenique Miller's deposition, you'll get some insight into why she suddenly stopped showing up to these board meetings altogether. Again, shout out to All in the Q. Go ahead and drop a like and subscribe to her channel if you find her content helpful. Now let's swing back around to where we left off with Trustee Dwayne Muhammad, still trying to slide the Melanie Fitness Center back under his control via the Human Services Committee, the same committee he is already a part of. I want everyone to work together. Trustee Muhammad, I understand the concerns based on what happened in the past, but I do think he could serve on the committee. I just believe someone else should chair. It may be one of the newer trustees could take the lead. Just my suggestion. There is a motion on the floor and a second. Thank you for the input, Trustee Henyard. Do any of the newer trustees want to chair the Melanie Fitness Committee? Trustee House, Trustee Denton. I am open to suggestions. I will serve if necessary. I would be on the committee, House said, but I do not want to chair it. All right, so we need someone to chair. We do have a motion on the floor. Attorney Murphy, thank you for stepping in to help us navigate this. I would like to amend the motion, Henyard said. How do I do that? Vote no on the current motion, Murphy replied. And if your side has the majority, you can propose an amended motion afterward. The motion on the floor was to give oversight of the Melanie Fitness, centered to the Human Services Committee chaired by Trustee Mohammed, with members Trustee Stubb and Trustee House. Let's take the vote. Yes, Trustee House. No, Trustee Denton. No, Trustee Pearson. Yes, Trustee Henyard. No. Result, 3-2-3, and, since the motion did not receive a majority, it failed. Do we need to take further action or amend? No, they decided. We will not revisit it tonight. Trustee Henyard had hinted at submitting an amended motion, but since it was not listed on the official agenda, she was not allowed to bring it forward that night. This entire exchange perfectly illustrates how slow and cumbersome government processes can be. Even when someone is ready to act, the rules and protocols can halt everything in its tracks. I will give credit where it's due. The trustee Tiffany Henyard actually handled this moment with professionalism and restraint. She accepted the outcome, remained calm, and did not spiral into one of her usual chaotic outbursts. So yes, there are rare moments when Trustee Henyard shows she can behave with composure and respect heaven when things don't go her way. Well, folks, that wraps it up for today's video. If you enjoyed these throwback moments and want more like this, drop a comment below and let me know which parts stood out to you most. And as always, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on what's really going on in the village of Dolton.